Well, the Delhi side has raised many eyebrows this IPL season, largely for the wrong reasons. After snatching UV for 16 crore rupees, many expected the side to make a turnaround, but the season has been underwhelming for them. Coach Gary Kirsten spoke exclusively with Headlines today in his most candid interview ever.
We cannot not talk about Yuvraj Singh as well. 16 crore price tag, the man who was supposed to turn around the fortunes for Delhi perhaps. What do you think went wrong and what do you feel about his form in the season?
Well, you're painting a picture like it's all doom and gloom for Delhi, but I think we've made some great progress, from last year where we were kind of really nowhere. We only won 2 games, and I think the franchise has made great progress this year. So we're very.
But it would have targeted a playoff spot, isn't it, this season?
Absolutely not. I think when you come from where we were last year to, to make progress. Obviously, it's nice that we were obviously aiming towards getting into the playoffs. But I think to have made the progress we've made is important. I think people need to understand that you don't just turn teams around in one season. It might take a lot longer than that. So I think we're very excited by the progress that we've made in the franchise, and someone like UV has come on. He's made some significant contributions, and that's what anyone asks of the marquee players, is that it's not about how many runs you score in the season, it's about the influence you can have in matches. So he's played his part as well. Well, the franchise decided to release a significant amount of players last year after last season, so we're basically building a new team, and you're playing against some seasoned franchises that have retained players over the entire history of IPL. So, it's been difficult for us to try and understand our combinations and explore who can add maximum value in certain positions in the team. And we've certainly spent this season trying to do that. So, we try to build a kind of a solid base, a solid foundation for our team. You
mentioned the combinations. One of the feedback that we kept getting from fans was that they were baffled by some of the batting order decisions. Gary, explain to us, what was the thought behind sometimes holding back Yuvraj or JP Duminy?
So we only batted JP in the middle order once in 13 games. And then for 12 games he's batted at 3. So I don't understand the inconsistency.
Like I remember the very first game where Yuvraj and JP came really lower down the order, and order has been shuffled as well, sometimes up, sometimes down.
So that was the one occasion out of 13 games. So the reason why we decided to bat JP at 3 is because we felt he added more value to us at 3. So for the next 12 games out of 13 we batted him at 3. So there was consistency there. And then, we felt that we wanted to get Yuvraj in after the power play, because that's where he added his most value. So I think the thing that needs to be understood is that when you're trying to build your combinations, you need to understand where people can add their most value, and that's a moving target.
Was the price tag something that hurt Yuvraj Singh? Did you feel that he was bogged down by it? Of course, it's not something he can control. But what do you make of his form? I mean, where is he at in his aim to get back into good form? Of course, you know him as the man of the tournament from the 2011 World Cup. You know all about what Yuvraj is capable of. Where is he at right now, Gary?
Yeah, I've been very happy with his performances this season. So as I said, he's added good value to the franchise. He's worked hard on his game. He's been a positive influence in the franchise. So, I'm only expecting better things from him.
You mentioned these are exciting times for Indian cricket. We're also looking for a coach now. Any considerations for Gary Kirsten at all to come back?
No, I'm past my sell-by date. I think it's always good to kind of explore new coaches, fresh ideas. I think as a coach these days, especially in professional cricket, I don't know if you can stay in any job too long. Obviously, when the team or franchise has success, you'll have a bit of longevity, but especially at international level, I think kind of a fresh approach is never a bad thing.
All right, and Shivani joins us live. She earlier spoke exclusively with Gary Kirsten. Also joining us live is Boria Mazumdar. Shivani, I couldn't but really concentrate on that last question that we just played out, where you asked Gary Kirsten whether he's interested in throwing his hat into the ring really when it comes to Team India. But he seems to have said a very, very stubborn no in this case.
Yes, I think he's made up his mind. His association with the South African cricket team has also ended with the World Cup, and he's kind of focused on just doing the Delhi Daredevils job and his academy. But there's no denying that Gary Kirsten's legacy lives on. We're still searching for a coach that can have the same kind of influence that Gary had on the Indian team, and of course led them to the 2011 World Cup title. Gary spoke to us exclusively on the back of what has been an underwhelming season for the Delhi Daredevils. They've had big names, lots of new faces, and of course headlined by Yuvraj Singh, but it hasn't turned out very good for them. Interestingly, and I would like to take this to Boria as well, who's joining us, Gary maintains the team's done well. He says he's happy with the team's performance and he's happy with what Yuvraj Singh has done. I think it's a lot of backing your team and backing your player right now, isn't it?
Perhaps yes. I mean, practically every fan of the Delhi Daredevils will say no. And if you are a Gary Kirsten fan, which I am, I mean, I have the greatest regard for Gary Kirsten, very highest regard for Gary Kirsten. I am very little impressed with some of the decisions taken by Gary Kirsten. I'll sum them up for you in 30 seconds. One, you have Zahir Khan in your ranks. You still have Alfonso Thomas. Is it because he's a South African? Is he sort of trying to create a South African think tank there? What is Alfonso Thomas's utility when you have Zahir Khan as the leader of your bowling pack? Why do you need somebody like a Gurinder Sandhu? I mean, what did a Gurinder Sandhu do for 4 crore rupees when you have a Nathan Coulter-Nile and Angelo Matthews and a lot of the others? Some of the decisions by the management has been baffling. I think the management is smitten by some of these big names. Earlier, I would say that people had trophy wives. Now it has become trophy cricketers for these big businessmen. Gary Kirsten's performance as Delhi Daredevils coach, as far as I'm concerned, has been less than satisfactory.
What he says, what Gary told us in his interview as well, Boria, was that this is a side which is being built up almost fresh. You cannot judge this side only by one season. In fact, I asked him there that the side would have targeted a playoff spot, and he said no. From where we came last season, we've made progress.
2 seasons, Shivani, 120 crores in the bank. That's what Gary Kirsten got to play with. Delhi Daredevils gave him a clean slate, not one single retention. If Gary Kirsten tells you at the end of a season, I am not aiming a playoff spot, God help Delhi Daredevils going forward. In the IPL and in such franchise cricket, you've got 2 seasons. You've been given a clean slate, 120 crores to go and select your players. Even at the end of the day, 1 season second last, this season second last. Is that satisfactory performance? Ask any Delhi Daredevil fan, he or she will say no. That's my point. I mean, I have the greatest regard for Gary Kirsten, but for someone like him, the question that you asked, and spot on, the first match, batting order, Kedar Jadhav batting higher than Yuvraj Singh. Gary saying Yuvraj has done well. What about Zahir Khan's role? What about Gurinder Sandhu's selection? All of these, Yuvraj Singh 16 crores. I mean, Hemant Dua comes up and says it's a market determined factor. Now tell me, what is a real value? Maybe around 8 crores, Yuvraj Singh can get you 2 crores in sponsorship. Where is the 6 crores going to come from? Is it not a waste of money? Nobody can be valued at 16 crores. For Gary Kirsten to do all of these things, it's a little
right.
value.
Just to add to what Boria was saying there, when Hemant Dua talked about Yuvraj Singh's price, he actually meant that they would have liked to get him for lower, but the auction with the 3-way bidding increased Yuvraj's price. But once they were in that bid, they had to keep going full blast. Boria, thanks a lot for joining us and putting some of the decisions that Delhi has made in perspective. Vedika, it's back to you.
Thanks for that, Shivani and Boria. Well, staying with news from the IPL.